Okay. So this part's spliced in because I did some thinking with Blitz's story, and I had gone to a previous save, and I decided to tell him not to go after Emily anymore because she pretty much is telling him, "Leave me the fuck alone." Let me guess, Blitz. When I told you not to go after Emily, you went after Emily. I'm never distracted, Chief. Labor's focused right here. But you're right, I did keep looking for Emily, and I found something. After our talk, poked around, she messaged you. She sent me a note. Want to hear it? And I quote, "Lay off, Blitz. I told you to leave me alone. You still have some admirable self-control for the past year. Please don't give up now. I'll be back when I can, if I can. Until then, keep away from me for both our sakes." So I found her, and she wants nothing to do with me. No explanations, no apologies, just a weird verbal pat on the head. I've shown admirable self-control. Really? She makes it sound like I'm a toddler or something. So, did you lay off like the message said? Hell no! I wasn't gonna stand for that! Where did she get off stealing meat from me and acting it was my fault? I tried to trace him as she's a good decker. And did you succeed? No, she's a good kid. Better than I ever thought she was. I couldn't trace a damn thing. I had to keep digging. Though, I mean, if she knows me doing it before, I must have been close. I was more discreet this time. Nobody knows what I was doing. I did find another clue. Alright, so Cider Cup. So you think she works for SK, and she stole encrypted data to give to them. Oh, maybe. It's confusing. I was able to track down some messages, and she's connected to Shock Weldon Writer. Maybe she was a Cider Cup Mo, and she got close to me, or... Oh god. She's with Schadenfreude, and she's screwing both the Azzies and SK over. In that case, maybe she wants to be with me because she genuinely wants me to. Maybe she was getting in too deep. Maybe she needs help. Maybe, why would she send me such a cryptic message? Blitz, that message said anything was but cryptic. She wants you to stay far, far away. You should listen to the lady who's a better decker than you are and stay far, far away. Yeah, that's what she said. But I bet she didn't mean it. She probably didn't want me to worry, or she probably said it under duress. I mean, you've got to agree, it's at least worth checking out. Blitz, listen to me. It's a bad idea. Nothing good is gonna come from it. You worry too much, Chief. I'm the best, remember? So where's the harm in digging a little deeper? I mean, Em might need me. If this is how you acted when you and Emily were together, I could see why she left. Whoa, that's pretty messed up to say, Chief. It's also accurate. You routinely ignore those around you because you think you know better. I'm here to tell you, because I'm your leader, you do not know better. When a woman says, leave her alone, you leave her the fuck alone. But Blitz, listen to me. You need to show some more self-control and drop. This is gonna be bad. I don't know. Alright, whatever. Anything new for me, Paul? Anything? Anything at all? Nope. Okay. Anything new about you, Writer? Is it the same old stuff? Any updates on Alex? Oh! Back when we took on Humanists, you said that you fought in the Night of Rage. I'd like to hear more about that. Alright, Bus, we could talk about it. So I've already mentioned that Berlin's punks and anarchists joined forces to fight off the racists, right? Well, after a long, bloody fight, we beat them. What I didn't mention is how I figured into all this. I'm an anarchist at heart, always been, but at the time I fit squarely into the punk camp. I was 32 at the time. Meister Kampf was still touring, not as much as we did when we were kids, but we had a following. I guess I was sort of an elder statesman for the scene. When we rallied to fight the racists, my followers came along for the ride. A bunch of old young kids, all full of piss and vinegar and immortality of youth. I was full of that good old dragon slayer spirit, pissed off and itching for a fight. So I led those kids into the fray. They waded into the riot right alongside me, yelling and screaming with their fists in the air. I don't remember a whole lot of the fight itself, boss, but I do remember the aftermath. All of the kids that followed me had grown up listening to my music. They had all of my attitude, kitty, but none of them had my magic, and youthful enthusiasm is no defense against a knife or a handgun. I left the punk scene for all the reasons I told you, boss. There was a bigger reason, and I saw it in those kids' broken bodies. This road that I'm on, it leads to the grave. I've got the power to make it a leisurely trip, but make no mistake, that is where I am headed. Those kids tried to follow in my footsteps, and they wound up sprinting ahead of me instead. Better for me to stay out of the public eye and stick to the shadows. My stint as a role model is ill-advised. Have you put any thought what I said earlier? Yeah, boss, I have. It's an interesting idea, but there are risks. I'm thinking that this might need the best of time to approach him about it. He is my source of magic, remember? If our discussion turns into an argument, he could take all the magic back in a heartbeat. Then where would he be? From what you told me about the Dragon Slayer, I don't think he'd like the way you're talking. Since when has he ever encouraged you to back down from a fight? You've got the point there, boss. He wouldn't want me to back down ever. Not even for him. So I'm gonna do this. I'll ask the Dragon Slayer about shifting priorities. I guess you'd say taking on something deserving organization and calling off the hunt for something more impressive than the Fire Wing. Of course, a fight like that would never really end. I'm never gonna bring down a corp or a poly club all my lonesome. But maybe that's not a bad thing. It takes a lot of work out of life. I don't know, boss. If you have any thoughts about this, I'd love to hear them. Why tie it to a specific group? I say keep it fluid. Stomp anyone that threatens the Flux. Isn't that what Berlin's all about? Interesting. That's a different approach. Hold on a sec, I'll ask. He closes his eyes and concentrates. Minutes pass and slowly a smile creeps on his face. Yeah. I think he'd like that plan just fine. That was it? That's all it took? The Dragon Slayer doesn't mince words, boss. If he didn't like the plan, he would have told me. Well, boss, I got myself a plan and a new target to boot. That's assuming, of course, that any of us makes it through the current predicament alive. You know, Dietrich, now that you've got a handle on your connection with the Dragon Slayer, you could probably reach out to your old community. Berlin punks could benefit from your experience. Yeah, boss, I was thinking the same thing. Maybe I could give back a bit. Fix some of the damage I caused in my misspent youth. After we are finished dealing with the crisis in front of us, that is. It's a good thought anyway. I'll keep that in mind. Alright. Later. Alright, I need to do, Eiger's quest, right? Nothing right now. Are you willing to talk, Gloria? Need anything from me? If I didn't know any better, I think you'd be warming up to me. I suppose you might say that. I don't talk to many people, Kitty Bit. It just doesn't seem to be worth the effort. I don't really feel much anymore, ever since she caresses the chrome on her forearm with her hand made of archicus. This. If that's true, why are you still talking to me? I suppose you've shown an interest, and because you haven't let me push you away. I don't want to mislead you, Kitty Bit. I still don't feel anything, not warmth or friendship or even trust. But I can appreciate the effort you're making. It's something new, and it's worth exploring. You said that things went bad when you turned 14. I'd like to keep talking about that. I'd rather not. Why not? Because I don't see a reason to. The memories are unpleasant, and dredging them up doesn't serve any real purpose. You're wrong about that, though. The last time we talked, it had an impact on you. You felt, so there's enough reason to continue. I suppose that's true. Feeling discomfort is better than not feeling anything at all. Alright, here's the deal, Kitty Bit. I'm gonna talk, you listen. When I'm done, I'm done. No complaints, no arguments, and we'll see what happens. Deal. Alright. So, a few days after my 14th birthday, I began to express. Magically. Go on, Gloria. I turned 14, I awakened. I don't remember how my parents found out about it anymore. I think my dad caught me playing with a tiny city spirit that I coaxed out of a pile of garbage or something like that. With everything that happened afterward, those days were kind of a blur. What I do remember is my father's response to the revelation that his little girl was a witch, a hex. He beat the living shit out of me with his fist, then his belt, then a claw hammer that he grabbed out of his toolbox. All the while my mother was screaming and flailing at him. She took a couple licks with the hammer too. What about the neighbors? Didn't they call the polizia or the prosecuritas? Oh, sure they did. Our neighbors were perfectly decent people, even if they couldn't admit it to themselves. They knew what my father was up to. When they heard a woman and a little girl screaming bloody murder, they were the first to pick up the comm. Unfortunately, police response times can leave a little something to be desired. I assumed that they showed up eventually, but I'll never know. I was out of there well before anyone showed up to intervene. We'll get to that in a second. So finally, after what felt like an hour, Dad stopped tuning me up with the hammer. I had broken ribs, a busted arm, I couldn't see out of my left eye, my entire right side was covered with one giant bruise, I was bleeding all over the place, making a mess on the carpet. The old bastard spat on me, his bleeding, crying daughter. He spat on me, he told me that I was des Trus Fuhrer, the devil's whore, and then he kicked me out of the house. As I was crawling away, my father told me if he or any of his Kreuzritter's brothers ever saw me again, that they'd treat me as Berlin's chapter treats the enemies of God. If you're not familiar with how the Kreuzritters here in Berlin deal with heretics, it's decidedly less pretty than what my dad and his buddies did to their victims. I got the hint, and the next morning I hitched a ride out of Stuttgart. Go on. I wound up in Tübingen. I figured it'd be safe enough to find a place to find medical attention, and maybe call home. It's not far from Stuttgart. But it was a huge student community that figured I could blend into, and the university there had a decent magic department. My ride dropped me off at the university hospital. They patched me up pretty good. Had some questions for me about how I got beaten up. I lied and told them that I'd been mugged, which played nicely into my complete lack of cash, credit, and identification. We're gonna fast forward the next few years. I was a kid on the street. I got by as best I could, doing whatever I could. And the rest can leave up to your imagination. Good? Good. Good. Thanks. So anyways, I lived on the streets for a few years, got used to being hungry all the time, got used to being rained on a lot. Got by. I was painfully aware that I had magical talents, but without any training or guidance, I didn't really know how to use them or develop them. Truth be told, they scared me, so I more or less ignored them. So it just sort of went like that until a few days after my 17th birthday. I met Martha, and everything changed. Martha was a sweet girl. At first I took her for a street kid like me. Clothes were a little ratty, but she seemed comfortable being near me. But she looked also well-fed and happy. And those are two things I hadn't had been in years. We started hanging out, and before I knew what was happening, I was in love. There was a general attraction between Martha and me, I think. But I also think that a lot of my affection for her came from the fact that she was the first person in years to give a damn about me. She cared, and I loved her for that. Keep going. Martha told me about a place where she'd been hanging out. She invited me to join there. It was called Feuerstel, the fireplace. It was sort of a commune for dispossessed youth. It turns out a lot of street kids I'd known over the years had moved there. The way that they disappeared, I'd assumed they'd been kidnapped or killed or gone back to their parents. But there they were. I remember kind of being angry about it. How did everyone get into the memo about this but me? Martha calmed me down. She was good at helping me work through my feelings. I wound up following her to Feuerstel. To a street kid, it was basically paradise. The owner, a guy named Harrow, had set up a little farm just outside of Tübingen, in the Schroen-Busch forest. The forest is officially a nature park, but not many people go there nowadays. Too much fear for paranormal animals, I guess. Anyway, park or not, it was plenty big enough for us to hide in. It was also safe and pretty, and the farm was well stocked with food. Most importantly, Fireplace gave us a sense of community and stability that we never had on the street. We loved Harrow for that. He became like a surrogate father to us. That's enough for now. I need to process this. I don't want to continue forward until I've had a chance to do that. I know that this happened years ago, but I guess it's still pretty raw to me. So I'm gonna ask you to give me some space for a while. We can pick it back up later. Sounds good. Alright. Oh, people got things. Alright, sniper specialist I got. So this is reflex, adds 1 movement. Trigger usual dodge. Nah, we're going full that. And what about you? AoE. Electrical costs 1 AP to cast. But the AoE radius is increased by 1 tile. But it costs 1. I want it to cost 1. You regain revive. That's really good. And move speed now 4. 0 AP action. Duration 1 round. Or yeah, sure, why not? Alright, so we got that, we got that, we got that, and we got that. Confirm all. Alright. Good, 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 good. We did that. Things are being done. Can we save the game? Yes, we can. We're gonna save this game. We have so many saves now. It's actually quite daunting. Alright, so Gloria doesn't want to talk. That's fine. How much money do I have? I have... What do I have to do? Edgar's contacts. OTK offices. Alright, we gotta help Edgar. Eiger! Alright, U-bound platform. Wait. And then board the train. No, we're not going to Aztec yet. We're going to meet Eiger's contact, which would be this way? So it says I have to go up. So Simi? Is it Simi? Who gave you the shiner? I don't know what you're talking about. Did you want something? I've got things to do. Zach says he has a new stim for me. One with aliens and a little girl I need to save. I can't let her down. How did you end up here? I don't know. I was living on the streets since I was a kid. Had no family, no home. Got mixed up with some bad people. I had a bad day. Ended up owing money. Too much money. I got beat up pretty bad. Needed a doctor, but couldn't pay for one. And I found Doc. It's Beckiel. Or he found me. I can't remember. He said he could help me. He gave me money up front. He said I could come back for medicine every month until it was time to pay him back. And I did. I took the medicine just like he said. Is something going on around here? It's Flux, right? I don't like the Flux. In The Sims, you can have a happy day over and over. You can skip past the parts you don't like or replay the good moments as many times as you want. I can't think of any real parts of life I want to play over. And plenty of ones I wish I could skip. Whatever I have to do. Okay. Where is Eiger's contact? I don't even know where she is. Where did she say she was? Phone? Do I call her? Walk away. Eiger's contact, eh? Alright, maybe if I go back here. So, it says I have to... Huh. Optional made Eiger's contact. Can't even... Alright, whatever. I'm gonna find this person. You're not Eiger's contact. And... Alright, so he's up? Oh, there. I see. Okay. That makes sense. Dyke Welker. Alright, let's do this, I guess. That's Lucky Strike. Hope I don't mess this up. Hey! What's up? This dwarf has a distinctly Eurasian appearance. He peers up at Eiger through almond-shaped eyes. The rest of his broad face is dominated by strong, salvic features. He nods to himself and puts down his mug of soy cough. On the edge of the table, a plate of day-old pie cools in a haze of cigarette smoke. Oi, Eiger. Been a long time. Keeping busy? You could say that. Keep it, this is Bannock. He's a friend. Ugh, don't know if I'd go that far. Nothing personal, you understand? If I were to start keeping friends, I might call you one. But in my experience, friendship and obligation go hand in hand. A solitary life is cleaner. Professional acquaintance, then, she says. Better. Let's get down to business, shall we? We need intel on the engineer, where he's been staying, who he's working for, how long he's been in Shadowrun. Whatever you got, we want. He spears a hunk of pie with his fork, crams it into his mouth, and starts to chew. A moment later, he shrugs. I've had worse, of course. I'll give you what I can. But I don't know much. I can point you in the right direction. That's all. Just tell us what you can, we'll handle the heavy lifting. The dwarf nods and fumbles in his jacket pocket for something. A moment later, he produces a weathered paper map and spreads it on the table. Alright. What you're looking at is northwest quadrant of Shadowrun. This is gang territory, all of it. These days, the whole case is held by Rambach. I'm surprised there's enough of them to hold much of anything. I'd heard that you taken a hit a while back. They taken a hit a while back. That was you, huh? Well, good on you. But you should know that they're still alive and well, and the guy who took over the gang leadership is a real piece of work. If anything, they're worse than what they were before. This is the warehouse right here. Rambach HQ. And that's where the engineer is staying. Wonderful. If he's staying there, he must be arranging some sort of deal with them. That'd be a safe bet. They haven't pulled their guns on him yet, so it's fair to assume negotiations are going well. I'm sure that I don't have to tell you this, but the last thing we need is an alliance between some foreign syndicate and Rambach. No good can come from that. Can't argue with that. Now, I can't tell who the engineer is working for, but you'll have to ask him about that yourself. What I can do is make it easier for you to have a sit down with him. Bannock reaches under the table, brings up a canvas bag. He places it in front of you and pushes it forward. Do not open that in here. There are a lot of people who would kill you for what's in that bag. You gonna tell us what it is, or do I have to guess? He lowers his voice. You have to lean down to hear him clearly. What you're going to find in there is a gadget about the size of a water pistol. It has a rubberized grip and a hair trigger. It's a good shot. Good for one shot. It's a stun gun? No. Well, not really. For your purpose, you might as well think of it as one. The object in question is a cyberware deactivator. I had it shipped here at great personal expense from a supermax prison in the UCAS. The warden owed me a favor. Nice, Bannock. This should make this easy. No, not easy. Possible. I wouldn't be giving it to you if the job could be done without it. The engineer is rocking a data grade move-by-wire system. Unless you can shut it down, there's no way the hell you're gonna catch him. And if we do shut it down, he'll be forced into a state of permanent seizures. Only until he gets this thing up and running again. Deactivated isn't the same thing as broken. Until then, his life will be a living hell. But I can think of worse things to use as a bargaining chip. Remember, you need to know who he works for. The more you can take him out of his comfort zone, the better. Sounds like we have a plan. Sounds like that way. Thanks, Bannock. We'll let you know how things work out. Alright, so I'm gonna send this grenade to my stash. Don't bother. I'll be watching. Alright. Time to go to Shadowrun. See you there, Eiger. Alright, so the U-band is this way. We'll just save for good measure. Can't save for good measure, so we're going in. And we're going to Shadowrun.